Hi, Homeworthy. I'm Sharon. This is my home in Dallas, Texas. Come on in.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Sharon Lee Clark, and I'm a Korean-American fine artist and owner of Krane Home, and you are in my home in Dallas, Texas. So the story goes that my husband and I are both from Los Angeles, California. We were living in Santa Monica when the pandemic happened, and right away we pretty much looked at each other and said, you know, this might be our chance to try something new. So we hatched a plan to move to Dallas, actually. We had it in mind already, and we just picked up our stuff, sold our house, and basically went from 1,500 square feet in Santa Monica to now 6,000. And it was a really, really big transition, and we did it for our boys. We have two boys, they're 6 and 8, and we feel like the lifestyle in Dallas for them was really what we were looking for, with the amazing schools and churches and everything there is to offer in the community. So here we are. We really fell in love with University Park because when we drove through with our realtor, we immediately saw how well people take care of their homes. You can see the landscaping from the streets, everything looks impeccable, and we were really ready for a little bit of Pleasantville. So, you know, peering into people's homes, you see through the window that everyone has these amazingly, beautifully designed dining rooms and formal living rooms, and it was just this whole life that I feel like we were ready for, just to expand into the community, and we just love it here so much. One of the most exciting things about the home was I was able to bring in a lot of my mom's original screens and paintings. So I wanted those to be highlighted, but also talk back to the wallpaper and the art that I do as well, the more modern version. So here in this room, there is a screen of my mother's peony flowers. They're very traditional Korean, painted on this rice paper, and there's all the inks are done with, the white is crushed up seashells, and even some of this ochre color is from a petrified root, and she uses an inkstone for the black outlines. So it's a super traditional peony screen. And on the other side of the wall is going to be a Krane Home wallpaper called Flora, featuring peony flowers and butterflies in a custom color. So I loved this color blue for the home, and it really, you know, it's very powdery and it just is very peaceful, but you also have all of these other colors that come in to punctuate it. So I loved this blue and gold moment coupled with this very saturated polychrome screen, Korean screen over here. When we moved, there wasn't a lot of furniture that you could order just because it was 2020. So I had to get a lot of pieces on Cherish and First Dibs. And I found this table, it's hickory white on Cherish. And I also found my chairs that I really wanted for a long time. These are hickory chair. And I got them reupholstered in a Krane Home fabric with that basket weave to match this wallpaper. Again, with the matching wallpaper and fabric, which is employed throughout the home. So I love Colleen Ryder's lights, Colleen & Co. She's a good friend of mine, and I knew I wanted her lights all over the house, and I joked that it was like her own little Dallas showroom. But I love these sconces over here, and I got them custom powder coated in that same powder blue from the wallpaper. And you sort of have these other peony panels from my mother. They're art prints of screens of hers that are similar to the original over here. But I love the contrast of having the more modern framing on those ones and then having the traditional across the way. And these two in the middle are actually ancient Korean folk art examples. And they're really, really old, and they just have this beautiful, you know, coffee and tea stained paper, and it's a nice contrast to have old and new together. In Korean art and culture, the peonies and butterflies go hand in hand. A lot of people get married in front of a screen with peonies and butterflies because it represents marital harmony, and the peonies are there for symbolizing abundance and wealth. So I've got them all over the home, obviously, very auspicious. And here on this lamp, you'll also see it's a very antique lamp. That was my mom's, and it has butterflies and flowers as well to coordinate perfectly back to the wallpaper. From the entry, I'm going to bring you into the formal living room, which is one of my favorite rooms in the house. It has some of the echoing of that powder blue and gold scheme, and I'm loving the way that the patterns are not exactly matching, but they're all layered on top of one another in neutrals and blues, and it's really peaceful and tranquil, but punctuated with like the artwork, and you've got some beautiful accessories, and there's a lot going on in here. We moved so quickly from Los Angeles to Dallas that we didn't have time for any remodeling. So I always joke with my friends that we did a liquid facelift. And what does that mean? We painted every single inch of the home, repainted, all the moldings. These built-ins behind me were re-lacquered. And with that really pretty powder blue, it looks completely new. And it's a really fun way to just layer on the wallpaper, the fabric, the paint, to make the home feel really fresh and just like your own. The highlight of this room is the art right here. It's a diptych that I did, and it's a commission for a client turned into an art print. And we have over 200 art prints on the site. This is one of them. It's called Migration of Six Butterflies, and it has I guess the concept is a traditional Korean landscape, but it's done in a very abstract way. So I'm loving the traditional and abstract, more modern, the play between the two in this room. All of the fabrics and wallpaper in the room are, of course, Krane Home, and I love how they really look so pretty here with this couch that we had in Los Angeles. I had it reupholstered, and I added some beautiful trim on the bottom, and it looks so cute with all of the trim. I loved all the details in the home. I focused on making sure that every single corner and inch was going to look really pretty and detailed, and to bring that homey aesthetic into the home. The first thing I notice about this room when I walk in are the golden pineapples, and the royal pineapple is a really popular pattern at Krane Home because it's a people pleaser. It's so pretty, but it also has a lot of impact. And the gold here is sparkly, it's got the metallic, it's gonna draw your eye around the room and reflect the light. And this pattern in particular is very special to me because it really marries the American and Korean sides of my heritage, and because the pineapple is the symbol of American hospitality, but around it you have this paper chrysanthemum crest that the ancient Korean king would wear on his head during ceremonies. So that's a really fun fact, and I guess you wouldn't know that by looking at it. It just looks, like a wallpaper that you chose, and it's so beautiful, but it has all of this symbolism behind it. I know that cream is not the most practical color, but for me, it just felt so serene and peaceful, and it felt like heaven to me. So I chose a cream rug, and I chose this beautiful Krane Home wavy cream fabric, and also, made sure that I used the pineapple fabric again in the room. And I love the sort of tropical theme. It's like a subtle theme because we have the banana leaf everywhere as well with it. And that pattern is just such a beautiful statement that you can make in your space because of the palm fronds are so large scale, and I cycled that throughout the room as well. One of my design icons is obviously Mario Bawada, and I have this book right here front and center because I actually was able to meet him in Los Angeles, and he signed this coffee table book for me, and it was a really special moment that's dear to me. I love having things around the house that remind me of my family because they're so far away, especially my mom. So she actually painted this Korean fan herself, and she's so talented. Those are peony flowers again. And then on top of it, I like to put some traditional Korean accessories. This is a jade and silk norige, and it's something that you hang on your hanbok to make it even more formal and decorated. And I also have some Korean hairpins in here, just to show people when they come over, have things to spark conversation and basically, remind me of my home. I once heard that it's polite for your guests to be able to come to one table in the home and look at all of the frame photos in one place. So I did that, and I have this, I guess it's a round table. It's meant to be an entry table, and it was one that I grew up with. It's an antique that was in my parents' house, and I took it and put it in this corner, and covered it with all of these really special framed photos in silver and pictures of my kids when they were babies. And it's just so fun for me to come and wander in here on a random day with a book and be able to sit and look at the pictures and reminisce. What do they call that nowadays? They call it a shelfie. So styling your bookshelves is really a reflection of your personality. And for me, it's something that I'm passionate about. And I make sure to collect and save all kinds of things from my life, my childhood. And here you'll find lots of little treasures, and they're all displayed in a way that's, you know, it's casual and formal at the same time. And I love being able to include small, petite artworks and mix them in throughout with the books and with the herend and your vases, and really make sure you have an eclectic mix. So as a fine artist, I really focus my time on doing art commissions and custom murals for clients. But with Krane Home, I sell wallpaper, fabric, and home decor. And I'm actually third in a lineage of Korean artists after my mother and grandfather. So they knew, and when I was little, they saw, you know, that I had it in me from a young age, and they really curated me as an artist. So I ended up eventually at UCLA Art School, and then I rebelled a little bit and ended up going to get my master's at UCLA/Cal Poly for my Master's of Interior Architecture. And from there, I found myself at Michael Smith in Santa Monica working, at the time they were working on the White House at the office. So it was a crazy training ground, and I learned everything I needed to know to kind of strike off on my own as a full-time artist, and also started Krane Home, and that was about 12 years ago. Across from the living room is the dining room. It's a formal dining room, which we hadn't had one before, really. So this was an exciting room to decorate for me. And I used my very favorite wallpaper in the Krane Home line called Monkey and Tiger in the grass cloth. And I truly believe that in a more formal space, a grass cloth really elevates the look and makes it feel a little more, I guess, expensive. So you have the grass cloth walls, and then you have the fabric that matches. And I always say that fabric and curtains really need a little bit of detail, and the trim really does that here in this room. And you'll see that on the edge here. And I love the way that it makes it look more stately, and it draws also back into that sort of raffia look of the grass cloth. I cycled the Monkey and Tiger around the room again with these pillows, and this is the matching pomegranate fabric in the Krane Home line that you'll see the same pomegranates in the wallpaper here as well, and the flowers. So everything is, you know, it's a mix, but it also really goes together. I'm all about coordinating, especially, you know, with outfits as well, like matching, you know, your shoes and your bag and your dress, but not having everything look exactly the same. So this is similar to that. So you have the yellow pomegranate fabric back here on the chairs and on the tablecloth. And the stars in the room are, I think, my mom and my art. So here you have a painting, an original by my mother, and it's also featured on the Krane Home site as an art print, so you can see it there. But the original is this beautiful diptych, and you can see all of the beautiful matte colors on that mulberry paper. And again, the white is the crushed seashell, and all of these colors are created from natural pigments. And then on this other wall is a painting by me. It's an earlier work, and it's called Day, and it's one of my favorites because, you know, the gold leaf is 24 karat gold, and I love the way it sparkles against the matte background, which is a tempera and gouache. And yes, that's like a sentimental painting for me. I think one of my life goals was to have this Colleen & Co. light fixture in my home one day, and it's so stunning. I had it custom colored in the same color as the painting behind it. And I added these rattan shades with a scallop, and I think it makes it look so sweet, but yet formal and, you know, important at the same time. And, you know, for entertaining, this room is so fun because there's so much to look at. It's so fun and whimsical, but it's also still formal if you're having, you know, a formal dinner with your friends or family. And I always love to have some lovely candlesticks. These are from Kimberly Whitman, trunk curated, and they come with these beautiful colored candlesticks, and I love having colored candles around. So the ones back there are green, these are yellow. And one of my tips for decorating is if you have a lot of blue in your room, I love adding a pop of color with any citrus tones. So in this room, the citrus tone is lemon, so yellow is where you'll see the pops, where it really brings the room to life, because if everything in the room is blue and green, it's gonna fall flat. So, and today, of course, we have these gorgeous florals from my friend Mitra Bellissimi Fiori, and she does my florals for everything in my life, and you can see why they're so pretty. The dining room transitions into a formal butler's pantry, which is so nice because you can have some food out for people to get seconds. And I've never had one before, and this space was so much fun to fill with all of my treasures and my plates, and you know, my flatware goes in all the drawers. And I was able to display some of my favorite blue and white pieces from my collection, including a couple plates that I found on eBay. They're from the Netherlands, they're antiques. And also this beautiful, Japanese ironware Krane plate that my mother had. I would say my design style is that I'm a maximalist. I love a ton of pattern, color, and really, if it were up to me and I lived alone, I would look like I was living in a crazy person's home. Like, I can go out there. But for this, I really wanted it to seem, on the formal side, because we came from Santa Monica where it was more casual, more beachy. And for this, I was ready for something more buttoned up. So I really was inspired by some American designers such as Mario Buada, where, with the chintz and the romanticism, and you're really matching and coordinating the fabric and the wallpaper in the home, which I do a lot in this house. And it was really exciting for me to kind of marry the American design with my Korean heritage. Everyone needs a moodier room in the house, and the bar was the perfect place to do that here. The tiger and magpie wallpaper is kind of one of the Krane Home mascots because he's so powerful, he's fierce, and in Korean art, he symbolizes protection. So that's really important to have in the home, and he's here in the bar with this dark green and gold colorway, and it's so much fun. It has a lot of impact. So we made sure to take off all the old hardware and replace it with the brand new, it doesn't look brand new, but it's the brass hardware. It's a little bit more modernized. And I loved what was already here in this room. We really just put wallpaper and made it all new and added some art. This is one of my mother's pieces called 10 Longevities. It's one of my favorite art prints on the Krane Home site. And it features all of the top 10 longevities in Korean art. They're all there. I could explain them, but it would be really long, but some of the top ones you'll see are the cranes here, the deer, these are the peaches of immortality, mushrooms, and the sun and moon, waterfall and mountains. And I love how the color of the mountains really coordinates so well with the wallpaper, but you also have like so much color in this piece that's able to liven up the room and bring out also these dark woods in here. I love Jan Showers, and I always wanted one of her pieces in the home, so there's a couple vintage pieces here from her store, but the standout is this brass and glass mirror here, because it's just such a fun shape, and it's really dynamic in here, and it was able to hold its own with the really, really powerful wallpaper. It's really nice in this home that the entryway and the living room flows into the bar, because whenever we have people over, everyone inevitably ends up in here. So we need to have, easy access to, wine and champagne. And so here's the wine cellar. And then on the other side, there's the fridge and everything that you need to mix a cocktail for your friends. Ours open to the family room, and this is where we spend the bulk of our time. We have 2 young boys, and they love games. So this is where we sit back and relax and pull out some games from these built-ins that were here before. And I made sure to lacquer them in a matte lacquer of this crazy blue shade that matches the Krane Home birds wallpaper to a T. And I made sure also to liven up this mantle with some blue, deep blue tile that's handmade from Country Floors. Loved that accent. And the fireplace screen is actually a custom one from Denise McGahey in town. When we moved in, I wanted to make sure that I was supporting local designers and artisans to really bring some, Dallas flair to the home. For instance, these urns here are from Kimberly Whitman, also from Trunk Curated, and I love how the blue tones there are so saturated, and it talks back to the wallpaper as well. And then you have the fabrics in the room too, which, I do love a pink and blue color scheme. I mean, I guess I'm like a fan of the gender reveal look, but here we have pink and blue, and it goes so well together because it's almost a corally pink and a tealy blue. So you can do different shades of those colors, and it looks really grown up. So you'll see here there's some trim on the pillows with the Greek key too, and that's the painted wave fabric. So there's a lot of detail again in this house. And then the chairs were slip covered with the basket weave fabric. And then I made sure to do a beautiful scallop detail on the hem with the same painted wave fabric and then a little bit of trim from Samuel & Sons. The couch is super deep because we like to lay here and relax, in the morning and at night. I usually drop the kids off, and this is my little spot to, work on my phone or look through a magazine. So this room gets a lot of use. And there's some art here by me. These are two pieces that are a diptych, but then here I'm using them on either side of a doorway. So that's something I always tell people. A diptych can be employed in two ways, with 2 or 3 inches between the pieces, or on either side of a symmetrical doorway as you see here. And I also love putting some beautiful console tables beneath them to ground the pieces, and then you can accessorize them however you'd like. I love these really beautiful, I think they're really called tulipiers, but they're also from Kimberly Whitman, Trunk Curated. And you can put little flowers in them, and they look so pretty. And this piece back here was a fun way to make the space a little bit more functional, because I guess there's an office here, but it's not very big. So I sometimes roll up a chair to this table if I'm doing a lot of paperwork, because it's so wide open, and there's really a lot of ways to use this space in a convertible way. I make sure there's a lot of occasional seating in case you have a group of, say 10 people come over and everyone needs a seat. Maybe you're having a meeting for a committee you're on and everyone's coming over. And so I made sure that there's, under here, there's 2 poofs that can be brought out and people could sit on those. There's 2 ottomans over there. There's a chair in the corner, and there's plenty of opportunity to create some makeshift seating in here as well for entertaining. Styling a tabletop is easy, but if you have some good tips. So on this table, I knew that there was some width here, so I needed to fill it with some items that had bulk. And this lamp is Bunny Williams, and I love how it takes up a lot of space. It's voluminous. And then you have the tray that goes next to it with some books. I'm actually featured in this book. It's called A Loving Table, and so I have it out there. And you always want a bud vase. Throw some flowers in, and maybe, a couple plates or dishes, maybe some that are part of your collection from your wedding set, and pull them out. You want to be able to see them. So sometimes I decorate with serving pieces from my set, and these are Mataheta, the Famille Vert, and I have these as my plates, a whole set of them. But these are some of the serving dishes, and I love having them out here as catch-alls for whether you receive a paper invitation or you have Christmas cards. And those all kind of go in the bowl or like kids' crafts. And it's nice to just have bowls and trays lying around to catch things. People don't love to put curtains on a great big window, but I actually am a big fan, because when you have so much fabric billowing out, it almost looks like, a cotton ball gown, and it's just coming out, and it's so beautiful with the blue, and this is that painted wave fabric again, and it's just another opportunity to layer color and texture throughout your house. I absolutely love our kitchen. We're here so much. And of course, when people come over, we gather around the island. And I know that I wanted a great big breakfast table in here for the kids to do their homework and, like just hang out, I guess, and do crafts. So this is a really functional space, but it's also quite colorful. So I wanted to create ways to inject color into the kitchen, which is hard to do, because most of the time you see kitchens, there's a lot of white, there's a lot of gray, marble. And so I painted this beautiful piece here that is of the 10 longevities, but it's my modern take of the same one that my mom did. It has all the same elements as the one in the bar, except here you have a kind of rainbow, very hyper-real version of that brought into modern day. And from there, being, I guess, the hero of the space, I made sure that all of the fabrics and things kind of coordinated back, but still let it be the star. So there's a lot of blue and white in here for that reason. And I love this Krane Home gingham fabric on the chairs. It's very kitchen to me. I don't know why. Some of my favorite kitchens that I've seen in books or growing up that I seen my friends' houses, there was always some element of gingham in the space, and it just makes it look so, I guess, quaint and homey, and it's just a fun thing to have. And here, I love a tablecloth, of course, and I like to have a big bowl of citrus because, like I said before, citrus tones are what I use in this home to punctuate with color, bring in pops of color that are a contrast to the major colors in the room. So this fabric was easy because it was blue, but then you have that punch of orange. So the citrus in the bowl is always something that I have in the house. Thankfully, my sons really love citrus, so they eat it too. And I have had this tile pinned to my Pinterest board for years and years, and it's a country floors tile. And I knew that since we couldn't remodel, tiling a backsplash was something super quick and easy that we could do to bring some pattern and color into the kitchen. Because you can't put wallpaper on a backsplash, this was kind of my next best thing, and I love the way it turned out. And then I made sure to bring in the same tone of the background of the white of the tile on these Colleen & Co. lanterns above the island. Something that makes me so happy to have around the house is a weekly floral arrangement. So these are from Bellissimi Fiore, and she is an artist. As you can see, this floral arrangement is just so beautiful. It takes your breath away, and it's just something so happy you can have that, if you're having a bad day, maybe you're tired, you just look at the flowers and they just perk you back up. I love having a good amount of Janori around the house. It's one of my favorite brands. These are also from Trunk Curated, and you'll see that the pattern is just so delicate on there, and it just looks so beautiful, almost like a Dutch painting or something. And I always go to Trader Joe's to get whatever it is that they have seasonally, and they had these little miniature lavender trees. So, I love having a plant or something or an herb in front of the window in the kitchen because it just makes you feel like you're in France. I think a powder room is an opportunity to do something really fun. And in here, I used this wallpaper that I have in the line. It's grass cloth. It's called Poppies. And it has these teal and navy tones. So I made sure to bring those in on these lights, which are Colleen & Co. They're like a carved tassel. And then it has like a really pretty teal Samuel & Sons trim on there. And this art behind me is an original by me, and they are of crimson songbirds that live in Hawaii on a gray background. And for some reason, it just matched so perfectly. It's one of my favorite moments of layering wallpaper and art in the home. I have this theory that, we really should be dressing our homes the same way we dress ourselves. And I am a big lover of fashion, and really putting my outfit together for the day is my creative outlet, because art can't be my creative outlet because it's my job. So I really have this really fun life with fashion, and I think that it really informs my design in the home because I'm not afraid, to put out a bunch of colorful accessories that may not go together, or, bring in a pop of color into a room that, calls for only blue and white. say. And so for me, it's more like taking risks in your home is no big deal, because we take risks every day with, the fashion that we choose or the outfit that we choose that day, and it's not permanent. So for me, yes, I think we should dress our home like we dress ourselves, and it should be a true reflection of our personality. You come up here into the upstairs foyer, and it's almost like a palette cleanser, because this whole area is painted white, and it's like an art gallery, really. So I have some pieces in here that cycle in and out. Some of them sell, then I paint new ones, and I love having them up here to just look at. And one of my favorite pieces is this beautiful ancient style tiger piece by my mother, and it's a long and narrow, and it's on top of this green vintage cabinet my mom and I found at the Pasadena Antique Center a long time ago, and it's traveled with me from house to house, from apartment to apartment when I was younger. And I love just styling it and restyling this area in different ways based on my mood or season. And it's really like a flex area to, hang and store art and move things around. One of the most used rooms in the house, obviously, since I have two young boys, is the playroom. And it's right off of the upstairs foyer. This way. When I decorated this room, our boys were a lot younger. They were about 2 and 4. So it was really decorated for their age level, but we've kept it this way because a lot of our friends bring their younger kids over and they come upstairs to play and they're entertained, and we have, kids with girls and boys. So I made sure to keep a lot of fun, entertaining elements for them to busy themselves together up here. And it's a space that they use all the time. The little table they build Legos on, and they'll come in here and do pretend play. And a long time ago in LA, we even worked with a play consultant. So some of the pieces were from her. Her name's Nicole Lucking. She was so talented. And so, I even have here, a dress-up area with little costumes, and there's some floor pillows that they can, build forts with or move around and read or just hang out and chill. There's a little ukulele, a map actually that's special to my husband because he is an Eagle Scout. So this is a map of all the different trails where he used to go. And then, this really cute Lego cart. I think everyone needs a Lego cart. And this is a vintage piece found by Nicole. And the drawers are functional because they hold, plus blocks, magnetic blocks, and they come in here and dig around all the time. And so behind there is also a cabinet filled with trucks and pretend play things like puppets and transformers and what have you. And that's all able to be put away in this chest, and that is from Pottery Barn Kids. And obviously, the most striking element about this room is the Gingham Jungle wallpaper by Krane Home in the lapis colorway. I also love bringing in that blue and blue tones. It's kind of a theme in the house, and matching it again with the wallpaper and fabric with these Roman shades, and they have this beautiful fun tassel element right here from Samuel & Sons that makes it so playful and joyful. And also another really cool piece is this custom-made house-shaped chalkboard. It's magnetic, and this is also from Playful Nest from Nicole. And that is something that they still even use. I'll probably need to get it hung a little higher since they're taller now. But yeah, everything in here just makes me so happy. It's nice to have a play space that's separate from their spaces and our spaces, which we didn't have before. So I had a lot of fun designing this space. When we found this house, the floor plan was so open and there was amazing flow for parties, and I love hosting. So, that really got me thinking, what is it about Southern living where there's, a theory where when your guests come over, you really are honoring them by putting beautiful window treatments on every window and putting out fresh florals and, decorating to a T. And I think it shows your guests how much you care about them. And it really is for the people who come over because, we live here and we enjoy it, but really one of my passions is definitely entertaining. So this is obviously our safe haven. It's our master bedroom and we love it so much. I wanted to make sure that it wasn't actually as feminine as our last master bedroom, which I did find a little more feminine. I wanted to use a lot of gray and gold tones, a little bit of black, woods, and that teal blue again to make sure that it was something that we both loved for many, many years. The Krane Home wallpaper in here is the banana leaf, done in the French gray colorway that has a bronze, a gold, and a gray layered in together. So there were a lot of tones to be able to play with as far as the neutrals go. And here, I really love this bed. It's by Ollie Studio, and we actually slept on the floor for a long time on a mattress because we were waiting for this bed to come in. And I wanted to make sure to put these bed hangings on there because I love a canopy bed, like a bed hangings. It's so romantic, but done in this gray color, it still is kind of like a neutral gender bed. And I love punctuating it with this poppies fabric that I have with the teal and the navy, but it still has, again, that French gray background to it. So it all ties together. This light right here is another Colleen & Co. It has a custom teal paint on it with the white on top. And yes, so I'm really into like the creams mixed with the cooler tones and then the blues thrown in. This rug was so fun. It's actually a rug that I found by searching Chinese vintage rugs on eBay. And I loved the floral, the multiple colors in it that you could play with. And it brings, again, that pink and blue, some green, and that same navy and teal. So that rug really grounds the space, and it's really big. So I could really bring this grand floor plan in here. It's a pretty big space with this vaulted curved ceiling. That was my favorite element. And the wallpaper just curves right up to this molding in the center, and it's just so fun, and it's just opulent in here with all of the golds and brass, and I even gold leaf the top of those mirrors that I found. I found those on Cherish, and they're vintage wood mirrors, but I stood up on this nightstand and I gilded that floral vine part on top because I just love 24 karat gold leaf. It's in all of my art. So I wanted to make sure that we were seeing that with all of the accessories as well, like this Colleen & Co. Tassel carved wood lamp. And it has these custom lamp shades, again with the trim everywhere in the house. I think trim makes your home feel so homey, and it makes the decor feel intentional, and the attention to detail is just really fun in here the more you start looking. The bed hangings have a beautiful hand pleated trim as well, and the leading edge on the curtains have trim on there with this bronzy gold and the black. And this settee was something I found on Facebook Marketplace of all places, because when we moved, there wasn't a lot of ability to order from places. Production was pretty much halted with a lot of lines, so I had to be creative. I found this settee on Facebook Marketplace. It is Baker, so it was a really, really good find, and I had it reupholstered in a Krane Home fabric with the poppies. This pillow was a custom Krane Home ruffle pillow, and I went to a local embroiderer at Madison shop and had them put our wedding, monogram on there, just a little bit of romance. And there are some vintage elements in here. There's new and old. This lamp over here is a vintage lamp that I found. I actually went to the Dwell with Dignity thrift studio. So if you have a new home and you're decorating, I highly recommend it. There's so much to buy and furnish a home, and it's all in stock, and you're helping a good cause as well. This bench here is also by Ollie Studio, and I had it recovered from our last house all of the pieces that were upholstered from our last house, I had reupholstered to go with the new design scheme in the room that it was going to go in. It's a great foot of the bed bench. I think everyone needs one in a master bedroom this size because first of all, if you have a little pooch that needs to get up on the bed and you need a place to sit to, get dressed, it's really a lovely thing to have. And who doesn't love, a beautiful armchair with ottoman combo? This was also a Facebook Marketplace find. It's a French carved faux toy with that ottoman, and I had it done in the matching fabric. That's the accent fabric in this room is that poppies with the gray and blue. This is a custom dyed fabric in one of the backgrounds of my fabrics in the line with a really cute rickrack trim from Samuel & Sons. This mirror is vintage. It's got that gold and black, and it almost looks like really just, like a bold element, and it's like Egyptian almost to me. I love the black and gold, and it just really brings almost like an eyeliner to the room. I think every room needs something black to ground it and to bring like the bottom value of the color wheel so that all the other colors really stand out more. This is the master bathroom. It was kind of a challenging room actually because it was so big, almost unusually large for a master bathroom. So we had to really bring in a lot of things that you would normally see in a living area to make it cozier and homier. So we created a seating area in the center with a rug and 2 wingback chairs, reupholstered them, they're Baker also, and put some throw pillows and a lot of really beautiful accessories. The lighting is Murano, and I sourced that on First Dibs, the chandelier and the sconces. It has kind of a subtle ocean theme in here because being a California girl, I knew that I would miss being at the beach and at the ocean, so I really made sure to bring in some cool, shell details like this mirror that I found on Cherish. It's covered with seashells, and around the tub there's coral and shells and really like my favorite scents and things that remind me of California. And this blue color also is almost like a peacock blue, and I guess blue is one of the main colors in the home, and I wanted to make sure to cycle it in through here too with the bottom parts of the vanities. But we pretty much kept everything that was here already. We just used some paint and new lighting and some really fun pieces of furniture and accessories like this shell-shaped chair over here. It has a shell back to it. I found that on Cherish. And I really thought that was kind of like an on-the-nose element in the room to make you think, okay, there's got to be a beachy theme in here a little bit. When I saw this closet, when we were looking at houses, I knew this was the one. And I knew also that I had to paint it a bright shade of pink because I love pink and I'm a girly girl at heart, even though I have 2 boys. So this is almost like my little haven, my feminine area that I get to play dress up in. And we did talk about how fashion is one of my loves. And so I get to really have my creativity come to life in here with every outfit that I put on. This pink color is called Jazz Age Coral from Sherwin-Williams actually. And my painter, when he was told the color, he told me, I can't use this color. It is too bright. But honestly, with all the clothes in it and everything, it almost becomes a neutral. So it's funny how color, when it seems so saturated on the paint deck, can then, once it's employed in a room, it looks actually very subdued. So in here, this is my pink closet, and I have obviously a very eclectic sense of style, and all of the pieces in here are almost like rainbow colors. And my sons will tell you that my favorite color is rainbow. So I organize everything, by shape. These are my blazers, and they all have a matching bottom over here because I'm really, really into a matching 2-piece set because it's so versatile. And I'm really into shoes. I have to have shoes of every color, every shade of pink, and they're all here. So I kind of have my paint palette of whatever I put on, I know I'm gonna have a shoe that coordinates perfectly. Same goes for hats. If you know me, you know that I am a crazy hat lady. I love hats, I collect them. I never met a chapeau that I don't like, a fascinator, so I have them all stored on the 2 top shelves of my closet. And I'm really into, collecting my favorite brands. Some of my favorite hat brands I collect is actually a Korean designer named Eugenia Kim. I love a local gal, Dana from Topped Hats. I do love my good friend Lily Sadugi, and I have all of them up here. I've even got some very Texan things like Stetsons, and I mean, in Dallas, you're always going to events. You're going to fun charity events, and a lot of them are Western too. So I've got a big collection of everything and anything that I need. I do have a lot of dresses, and they're all on this wall right here. And I've got everything from very formal mini dresses, very formal gowns to, kind of, I guess, I don't know if there's anything super casual in here, to be honest, but there's a lot to look at. There's some special pieces that are sentimental to me, such as this is my mother's honeymoon dress that she wore. It was a custom dress that she had made in Korea, so I keep that in there for sentimental value. But I also have pieces such as this S.A. Zenabor x Sharon Lee Clark collab, which is a hand-painted couture piece of a peony flower, which is very special to me. I also have my hand-painted ball skirt over here from S.A. Zenabor x Sharon Lee Clark, and that's right here. I wore this to Art Ball one year, and it's got a landscape painting with tigers and everything on there. It's like almost like a traditional Korean calligraphy landscape, but on a ball gown. She takes up a lot of space. But I do have skirts, and then back there I have my traditional Korean hanboks, which I do wear. If you've seen me on social media, I do sometimes wear hanboks created by Mihi Hanbok in LA, to regular events. I even wore one to Tutu Chic one time to support the ballet. And here we have my collection of handbags. I do love a handbag. I love them in every shape, size, color, and I need to have them all organized and displayed. My favorite designer right now is Lisa Barfield with Barfield Collection, and those are up here. This is my whole section dedicated to her bags. I feel like she's an artist like me, and all of her pieces are so, so creative, like this new one I just acquired. I'm obsessed with her. Obviously, I'm very into butterflies because in Korean art, they symbolize harmony, and in pairs, they symbolize harmony in a marriage. And so I have a lot of butterfly-themed things that I like to wear. And yes, I have a lot of things that my husband has, picked out for me. He likes to sometimes be my stylist, and so I have those pieces around too because they're sentimental to me as well. And I have displayed here my collection of headbands. I'm always wearing something on top of my head, whether it's a hat or a headband or a barrette or a bow. So I have to have an area to display all of those. I do have a vast selection of accessories. So I have, lots and lots of things to choose from at my fingertips in this built-in right here. I love this rose quartz pull handle that I added on. I made sure to remove all of the existing hardware in the home and put new. So these are brass and lucite. And yeah, the closet is really my safe haven. I spend a lot of time in here. And yeah, the lights actually from First Dibs, it's Murano as well. And they're kind of like these beautiful, I would say, orchid flowers, and they drop into these brass tubes. And I thought it was so sweet, and I had to have it, and it kind of inspired the whole room. Here you'll see the Krane Home peony wallpaper, and there's a subtle herringbone background, which is blush on cream, and then the flowers, which were block printed, and then inside of the flowers there's a little bit of gold leaf. And that's one of my favorites actually because it's so sweet, and I thought it was perfect for a very feminine closet. Having moved from LA to Dallas and having spent most of our lives in LA, the idea of what makes a house a home was really, deep because we, uprooted our lives and moved to a new town. And it became really apparent that obviously what makes a house a home is your family, and it's my husband Max, my kids Conrad and Warner. But we did everything we could to make everything familiar around here. So we kept all of our old things and we made sure to spread them out all throughout the house. We even have a bowl with little pebbles from our old home. We have things from when my kids were babies, we have those out. We've got photos, we've got books, all of our favorite little treasures from growing up. And I definitely went over to my mom's house before we moved and gathered some of, my favorite things of hers growing up. Since they moved to a more modern home, we were able to, inherit some of their antiques. And the dining room table is actually the one that my mother was painting on every night growing up. So it's so special to me. And those are really the things that make our house a home. Thank you for coming over, Homeworthy. This was so much fun. I've got to go pick up the boys, but I'll see you soon.